What would you risk to save an innocent life? For one Egyptian princess, the answer was everything: her position, her privilege, and possibly her life itself. This is the extraordinary story of how courage and compassion changed the course of history. 3,000 years ago, ancient Egypt was a land of magnificent temples, towering pyramids, and a dark secret. The pharaoh, fearing the growing Hebrew population, had ordered every Hebrew baby boy to be thrown into the Nile River. It was a time of terror for Hebrew mothers, forced to hide their newborn sons or watch them perish in the murky waters. In these desperate times, a Hebrew woman named Jochebed gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. For 3 months, she managed to keep him hidden, his cries muffled, his existence a carefully guarded secret. But as he grew, she knew she couldn't hide him forever. In an act of faith and desperate ingenuity, she crafted a basket from papyrus reeds, waterproofed it with tar and pitch, and placed her precious child inside. The Nile River, life-giving artery of Egypt, became her hope. Early one morning, Jochebed placed the basket among the river reeds, where the pharaoh's daughter often came to bathe. The baby's sister, Miriam, watched from a distance, her heart pounding with every ripple in the water. As the morning sun climbed higher, the pharaoh's daughter arrived with her attendants. The princess, whose name history hasn't preserved, was about to make a decision that would reshape destiny. When she spotted the floating basket, curiosity drew her closer. Inside, she found a crying Hebrew baby, his tears speaking directly to her heart. The princess knew immediately this was one of the condemned Hebrew children. The law, her father's law, demanded his death. But something stronger than royal decree moved within her: compassion. In that moment, she chose mercy over mandate, humanity over hierarchy. From the reeds, young Miriam emerged with perfect timing. She offered to find a Hebrew woman to nurse the child. The princess agreed, and in a divine twist of providence, the baby was returned to his own mother, Jochebed, now paid by the palace to nurse her own son. The princess named him Moses, meaning drawn from the water, and raised him as her own in the splendor of Pharaoh's palace. This Hebrew child, saved by an Egyptian princess's defiance, would grow up to become one of history's most influential leaders. This rescue wasn't just an act of kindness. It was an act of rebellion against injustice. The princess knew the consequences of defying Pharaoh's command, yet she chose to follow her conscience. In the midst of systematic cruelty, she demonstrated that one person's moral courage can light a path through darkness. The story of Moses' rescue teaches us that God's plans often unfold through unexpected heroes. A princess raised in privilege chose to see beyond prejudice. A slave girl showed remarkable wisdom and courage. A mother's faith led her to place her child's fate in God's hands. Perhaps most remarkably, this story reminds us that true nobility isn't about royal blood or palace walls. It's about the courage to stand for what's right when everything around you demands otherwise. The princess's choice rippled through history, preserving the life of a child who would later lead his people from slavery to freedom. In our own times of moral challenge, when doing right means standing against the crowd, remember the Egyptian princess. She reminds us that sometimes the most powerful act of faith is simply showing compassion, especially when it costs us something. One person's courage, guided by compassion, can truly change the world.